Hey guys, Serac here, and today I'm bringing you Dragon Link. So let's get into the deck profile. We begin with 3 copies of Starliege Seyfert. You can send any number of dragon type monsters from your hand or field to the graveyard. This includes itself. Add 1 dragon monster from your deck to your hand whose level equals the total original levels. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 level 8 light or dark dragon monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So this is one of your starters. This gets you access to your Chaos Dragon package. Mainly you summon this, send it, and then you now have a material, engrave, and you search Black Dragon Clap Serpent, which then lets you search White Dragon, which gets you off that way. It also provides some much needed recursion, getting you back Chaos Dragon Legionnaire if that ends up in your graveyard. So 3 of that to maximise our chances of seeing him. Our other main starter is Black Metal Dragon. You can target a Red Eyes monster you control, equip this card to your hand, it gains 600 attack. That effect never comes up, ignore that one. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, add 1 Red Eyes card from your deck to your hand, except Red Eyes be Chick. This searches you Red MD. So you summon this, turn it into Striker Dragon, and then you get to search Red MD. Very, very simple, very, very effective. 1 Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. You can read it when I lift it up like this, but you can't read it when it's flat like that. You can special summon this card by banishing a face-up dragon type you control. Summon it once per turn this way. Once per turn during your main phase, special summon 1 dragon monster from your hand or graveyard, except itself. Only use that effect once per turn. So this gives us much needed extension, gets us any dragon back, either for extra material or extra interrupts if we need them. So just all in all, really, really solid card, and a card we go through in most of combos. 1 Black Dragon and 1 White Dragon. These do the same thing. You can banish the opposite attribute from your graveyard to summon them. They search the other one. If they're sent to the graveyard, they're searchable off Chaos Space, and then Chaos Space can recycle to let you search again to give you a free discard for something like Dragon Ravine. To round out the Chaos bit of the deck, we then have 1 Chaos Dragon Legionnaire, level 8, 3,000 attack, can be summoned by banishing 3 light and or dark monsters from your graveyard. When summoned this way, you can activate the effect and apply the following based on the attributes banished. So if it's light only, you can special summon 1 monster from your graveyard in defense. If it's only dark, you can shuffle a card from your opponent's hand into the deck. And if it's both light and dark, you can destroy up to 2 cards from the field. So it provides you with extension, hand disruption, or breaking boards, depending on which effect you need at the most appropriate moment. We're normally going to be summoning this with darks or mixed if we're going seconds. So darks because we get to hand loop, or mixed because we need to break the board. We then have our bystial package, so we're beginning with 1 bystial Lubellion. Ideally this would be at 3, this is one of the things we've had to reduce for budget reasons. Cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned by attributing 1 level 6 or higher dark dragon monster, aka all the bystials. You can only special summon it once per turn this way. Send this card from your hand to the graveyard, add 1 bystial monster from your deck to your hand, except itself. During your main phase, place 1 branded continuous spell trap from your deck face up on for a lot of combos in the deck, and then it's a level 8 as well. 3 Bystial Saronir. Bystial Saronir has the bystial effect of banishing a light or dark from either graveyard, and is a quick effect if your opponent controls a monster, and then it can special summon itself. You can send 1 bystial monster. If it goes to the graveyard, send 1 bystial monster or 1 branded spell trap from your deck to the graveyard, except itself. Then, to round out the bystial package, we have 1 Magnamut and 1 Druis Worm. So Magnamut triggers an effect that searches for a bystial during the during the end phase, and Druis Worm, if it goes to the graveyard, you can target a special summoned monster your opponent controls and also send it to the graveyard. 1 Bystial Bulldrake. This has the standard bystial effect, and also if your opponent special summons a Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link monster, you contribute 1 other light or dark monster, target one of those special summon monsters, and banish it. So this just provides you with another nice extra bit of removal and keeps your bystial count nice and high. We then get onto our Rokket package. We have 2 Rokket Tracer. Tracer, you can target a face-up card you control, destroy it, and summon 1 Rokket monster from your deck, and then it locks you into dark monsters. And that's a quick effect, and it's a level 4 tuner. Rokket Recharger. If a dark monster you control that was summoned from the extra deck is destroyed by battle or card effect, send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, then target a monster, one of those destroyed monsters, summon a dark monster from the graveyard with a different name. While you control a dark monster special summoned from the extra deck, your opponent monsters cannot target this card from attacks. Those effects very rarely come up, mainly this is just our level 4 non-tuner that we summon off Rokket Tracer. One Absa Router Dragon. So Absa Router Dragon lets us search any Rokket, so it usually will search as Tracer, which we can then summon with Boot Sector Launch. So if you control a Rokket monster, you can summon this card from your hand. Doesn't usually come up. Most of the time we're dumping this with Dragon Ravine to then search a Rokket Tracer. For our hand traps, because we can play a huge amount of non-engine in this deck, we have 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring to negate any searches or sends to graveyard. 3 copies of Effect Failure, me flexing multiple rarities to annoy people that annoys, to give us some much needed effect negation. And 3 copies of Nibiru, the Primal Being, because sometimes you just need to drop a big old rock on the board. For our spells, we have 1 Chaos Space, send 1 light or dark monster from your hand to the graveyard, add 1 light or dark monster that cannot be special summoned with a level from 4 to 8 and with a different attribute to that monster. So this gets us access to our mini Chaos Dragons, and then you can banish this card from the graveyard, target a banished light or dark monster that cannot be normal summoned or set, place that card on the bottom of the deck and draw 1 card. So it replaces itself, it puts the opposite light or dark baby dragon into the deck, which means you can then search it again, which gives you a discard for something like Dragon Ravine. It's at 1, so we only play 1. 1 Dragon Ravine, discard a card, and then send 1 Dragon monster from your deck to your graveyard. Very simple, very effective, very good card. We really want this to resolve. 1 Boot Sector Launch. Special summon up to 2 Rokket monsters with different names from your hand in defense position. This allows us to get through to our Rokket bit of the deck for extra material. And then if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon Rokket monsters with different names from your graveyard in defense up to the difference. Generally, it's going to be the special summoning from the hand we're using this for, and obviously we search it with Striker Dragon. 2 copies of Quick Launch, because it's a little bit more expensive than I would like. Special summon 1 Rokket from your deck, it cannot attack and destroy it during the end phase. It's a quick play. This plus Tracer is really, really funny. Although less so because we're playing a very, very small Rokket package in this deck, so it doesn't get us a huge amount. But it gets us an extra card for extra link material. 1 Called by the Grave, because we don't want to get hand trapped on Dragon Ravine. Then we have our branded spell traps. We have Branded Beast and Branded Regained. So, Regained, if a light or dark monster is banished, target 1 monster of those monsters, put that card on the bottom of the deck and draw 1. So it lets us constantly recycle our bystials. And then, if your opponent normal or special summons a monster, target 1 bystial monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So it lets us constantly recycle our bystials from our banished pile and our grave. And then Branded Beast, once per turn during the main phase, if you control a bystial monster, tribute 1 dragon monster, then target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. During your end phase, target 1 branded continuous spell trap in your graveyard and place it face up on the field. So Branded Beast provides us with extra disruption, and Branded Regained provides us with the grind. And then to round it out, 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence to provide us with, again, more generic monster negation going first or second. For the extra deck, 1 Striker Dragon to search Boot Sector Launch. The target 1 face-up monster and 1 Rokket in your graveyard. Destroy 1 and add to your hand. Occasionally comes up, not a huge amount. Mainly this is just a free way to put any level 4 or lower dragon into the graveyard. 1 Dragoon's Unite Romulus. This card searches us for Dragon Ravine. It doesn't really have very many other useful effects other than that, but it searches as Dragon Ravine, and Dragon Ravine is really, really important. 1 Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. During opponent's turn, if it's in the extra monster zone, tribute 1 monster, itself. Return 1 face-up card on the field to the hand. If this card is tributed, special summon 1 dragon monster from your hand or deck and make its attack and defense 0. So this is non-targeting disruption, and it brings out an extra body, something like a Magnamut or a Druid Worm that can either search or send something when it is either summoned or is got rid of. 1 Guard Dragon Pisty. This lets us special summon a dragon monster from our banished or in the graveyard. Triggers things like Branded Beast. Nut Branded Regain, is extra extension. Just remember you need to make sure you have the right link arrows to use Pisty. One Quad Boral Dragon. A provides us with a nice downward pointing arrow for stuff like Guard Dragon Pisty. Can discard a card, target a monster on the field, destroy the targeted monster, locks you out of Link 2 or lower monsters, and then if it's a Link monster, you can special summon any number of Rockets from your hand or graveyard. Helps us break the board, and also provides with some extension on turn 3 onwards. One Triple Burst Dragon provides us with arrows mainly for Guard Dragon Pisty. It can negate the activation of a spell trap or monster effect in the damage step. It inflicts piercing, which can come up in time. And during the main phase, except the turn this card was summoned, you can tribute this card, target a Link 2 or lower monster in your graveyard, special summon it, then special summon a level 4 or lower dragon from your hand. One Borderland Dragon, the big beefy boy himself. This is what we tend to end on if we can. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Neither player can be targeted by can target this card with monster effects. Can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. Target one effect monster on the field and one Rokket monster in the graveyard. Negate the effects of the monster on the field and summon that card from the graveyard. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. You can only use this effect once per turn. So it provides you with extension. It's a big beefy boy that your opponent can't get rid of. It threatens the whole board, and it provides you with negation as well. One Borrowload Savage Dragon. If it's synchroed, you can equip one Link from your graveyard to this card. Gains Borrow counters equal to its Link rating and gains half the attack. And then it provides an Omni Negate for whenever that card or effect activates, which is once per turn. Just remember, this negate does not destroy, it just negates it. One Borrelsword Dragon helps us OTK. This would be access code, but that card is still over $30. So we're playing Borrelsword. It requires 3 effect monsters, cannot be destroyed by battle. Once per turn, target an attack monster, change it to defense. This card can make a second attack during each battle phase. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect. Once per turn, when this card declares an attack on a monster, you can activate this effect. Till the rest of the turn, this card gains attack equal to half that monster's current attack, and that monster's attack is halved. This endgame's out of nowhere. One Heretic Dragon King of Atum. This can special summon a dragon from your deck and make its attack and defense 0. It's really easy to make with 2 level 6s, so it's just a really, really nice extra piece of extension we have access to. One IP Masquerena for making our best friend Nightmare Unicorn, because we don't have SP Little Knight, because again that card is over $80, so we're not playing it, to provide us with a spin back to deck. One Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy. This just provides us with much needed getting stuff out of our opponent's graveyard, extension, and searches as a dark monster if it's destroyed. One Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend for winning in time, and sometimes you just got to blow up the board. And then finally, one Baron de Fleur. Really, really easy to make if we're not locked into dragons with something like a bystial plus a tracer. We can, it gives us a targeted destroy and an Omni Negate, and then it can put itself back in the extract to be remade and reset its negate. That is Dragon Link. I hope you enjoyed that. The main card to get if you want to upgrade this deck is a copy of Bystial Dispater. You could also think about getting another 2 copies of Bystial Lubellion. Other than that, this deck is very, very close to complete. The sad thing about this deck is how expensive it is in the UK compared to the US. It's under $100 in the US and nearly £150 in the UK. So it's still not ridiculously expensive by Yu-Gi-Oh card standards, but it's more expensive than I'd like. But it was really, really cheap in the US, so hopefully US people enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.